You're about to hear the recorded audio diaries of Michael Swain, Adam Ganzer, and Abe Epperson, transmitted to you from another dimension through the wonder of podcast technology. Lost in the multiverse, they have to dig into a different piece of multiversal fiction each episode, in the hopes of finally discovering a way back to their reality. How do they know this isn't their reality? Because one of them is being a real asshole. Will our heroes ever make it home, or will they inadvertently explore our obsession with multiverses, alternate timelines, and parallel worlds, and tie it all into a conversation about postmodern art, pop culture, and what it means to be a human right now? This is Escape from the Multicurse.
Can I say, that was low enough. I don't think we need to restart. That this is probably the least I've prepared for one of our, I hate working without a net. And I watched this on quadruple speed. That's how busy I am today. So I feel like I hardly watched it. Even though I've seen it maybe a dozen times, which is fitting. Yeah. But still, we've covered movies that I've seen 10, 20 times, and I still watch them right before. So if I suck, that's why. I'm Michael. Good. Welcome to Escape from the Multicurse. Who are you fellas?
I'm Abe.
Good order.
Hi.
You did that great.
Yeah. I'm Adam. I watched the remake of this a couple years ago, but I've watched it a few times now.
Oh, the TV show?
No, it was just it was a TV movie. Yeah. Watch it.
Got it.
All right. So if you're unaware, Tom explains the whole thing about this show in the intro, so we can stop doing it. The first thing we do is called multi-map. I took the lead this time, which allows me to define it. It's been a long time since I got to define the multi-map, but in my perspective, the multi-map is when we talk about the unique, potentially, way in which the property at hand utilizes the concept of, I say begrudgingly, time loops, or, I say excitedly, multiverses. So, in this case, wow, it's interesting. Is it a loop? Is it predetermined? It's actually, I think we'll talk about the breakdown of time, but just since I'm talking, I'll get mine out of the way and say I think 12 Monkeys uses it to bludgeon you with despair. And it's it's interesting because you have the initial hope that we always have, which is maybe if I could do things interdimensionally or back in time infinitely, I could fix everything. And then we have butterfly effect that's like, you fucked with it too much, it doesn't work out. This is the opposite, but the same. It's, you can't even fuck with it. There's nothing you can do. It's a block of wood. We're all doomed. Everything's fucked. Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. And I think that's the unique charm of La Jetée and then 12 Monkeys.
It's funny you're calling it 12 Monkeys. It's kind of a prejudiced summary of what this movie's about. Whoa. But then maybe you're suggesting that prejudice...
They call themselves monkeys, don't they? At one
it's the
point.
army of 12 monkeys.
You might be forgetting,
I think
they
this
call
is a
themselves the army of 12
relatively
monkeys.
hopeful movie. Unless you mean Prejudice is a multiverse of its own that locks you into a unique timeline, which I agree is absolutely true. But
I think people are layered. People are complex. That's what intersectionality is. I don't know what that has to do with 12 monkeys.
12 monkeys.
You keep saying it. So wait a minute. So
I don't need to belabor the episode we're doing. You're right. I'm sorry. We should move on. Abe, did you want to talk about? Oh no, Adam, please.
No, I'm sorry.
Go.
I just wanted. Forgive me. Maybe we'll have to cut this. We are talking about 1957's 12 Angry Men, the movie I watched. Correct?
Oh, I see. A lampoon.
12 Angry Monkeys.
12 angry.
No, they're not even angry.
Monkey
Now you're doing it to me. No, they're not. They're just monkeys.
Fuck.
Look.
Wait. So really? Because I was like, I can make a multiverse episode out of this.
Are you aware of Terry Gilliam's 12 Monkeys?
I've heard of it.
He's aware of it.
I thought, I could make something out of the knife handle. I mean, knives, the two knives are a universe of their own. You know what I mean? I could do that.
The knife handle. Was there a time machine?
I don't remember
of
12
any
Angry Men
kind
enough to get that.
You know what? Don't cut this. I'll fix it.
I'll
fix it.
You know what we'll do? I just took a flight. I'm going to task you with making up time in the air. Like by the end, just make it work.
I'm going to fix it. I will
Yeah,
fix
You're
it.
gonna
weave
fix
it
it.
in. Weave
Yeah.
it
He's
in.
gonna be a little time traveler of his own, watching it on 4x
Yeah.
speed.
Truly,
like Swain.
truly, justice
He's
is a split universe from which all kinds of dovetailing realities explode.
Well, I'm sure
Right?
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is all fine.
It was
Is that 12
embarrassing.
Angry Men or Crash? Wait, is Crash the new 12 Angry Men in spirit? Abe, what'd you think of 12 Monkeys? I heard you resisting my analysis.
I think that I think you're right. I think one of the uniqueness aspects or unique aspects of this movie, is that in a typically causality-based time travel, like think Marty McFly disappearing from the photo, this movie ends before the big event that you're worried about occurs, right? That I think is what you're talking about when you say dread, like how it's kind of
and they repeatedly
depressing.
say it
And I agree
always
with
will
that.
happen and it always will have happened. Forget about that. Yeah.
That's the thing, though. There's an agnostic aspect of that futility, I would argue, because you're left to believe our future may try again. Obviously, Cole's story is over in that airport, but you're left with this other offer that hasn't been verified, which is that there's some force compelling reality to go unchanged. And that in a causality type time travel movie where you're waiting for, Marty McFly to get back in the photo or whatever, like the goal, usually the movie is like, no, it happened or it didn't. We don't know at the end of this movie because they could keep trying again. They got more time travelers. It's not just Bruce Willis.
Unless I'm misunderstanding the content, which maybe we should just move into the next, because it's just the talking one, right? We can just talk now?
Well, no,
Yeah, let's talk.
I think I should do my take.
I thought you did do it about the knives spiraling out.
Well,
to
that's
the
100% true.
facets of humanity. I'm sorry.
As we're cutting it, right? So don't worry, we'll cut the other thing.
Yeah, I'm going to cut it.
Okay,
Thank you.
so now is your take.
Now I've seen
Go
it.
now.
Yes, I've seen it. 12 Monkeys is so it's a thriller in the
You're doing
sense
good.
that it thrills us when it splits apart its many causalities. Anyway, I'll get one. Come back. I'll record it at the end.
We'll come around. We'll come around.
All of its
I'll record it at the
Well,
end.
you write it out, just some loose bullet
Okay.
points, and we'll get back.
Yeah.
And we'll just cut it and drop it in at the beginning, and they'll know.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though? Honestly, the dude with the glasses in 12 Angry Men, pretty logical. I feel like in every universe, just like that. Like just very much like he's very factual. I feel like he comes to the same conclusion no matter what. You know what I mean?
Juror number
I think it
one
was
of them.
4. Yeah, juror 4.
4.
Yeah, number 4. Logic. Kind of respected him, even though he's kind of a
If
prick.
I could remember the name of the segment, I would yell it now.
Verses on verses.
Verses on verses. Thank you. I just wanted to kick it up by responding directly to what Abe said, which is that I just want to nail this down, what you guys thought, especially Adam, of course, will be the tie-breaking vote. But
Yeah.
I thought they weren't even hoping that they could ever prevent the plague. They were just trying to mine information to eventually get a pure version of the virus so that they can cure people in their present. Because since you can't see the future, you may as well try, because it might be your predestiny to cure the virus, but you can't change things that have happened. But then I was confused because at the end, obviously, spoiler for 12 Angry Monkeys, the people send him to the airport and tell him to shoot that guy in the back, which implies that even the Gilda Calamus and the scientist guys have hope or change their mind, because why would they have him try if it, you know what I mean? Why would you even have
I think
that
it's
false positive?
I think it's left ambiguous.
Yeah,
I agree.
Fucking Adam
I
says,
agree.
yeah.
No, I love that about it. I
Keep
think that's
fucking-
where that's one of the reasons why it's a very postmodern film because of that.
The verdict
And the
is
use
in.
of the particular use of the lead actor, who Adam, of course, is the lead actor.
Brad Pitt, right?
Oh,
Isn't
he's
it
in
Brad?
there.
Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah,
Good.
he's in
Brad
there.
Pitt's good.
Good.
You
He's
only
really good
to
in it.
say he's always good. I'd put this. I mean, it's not a hot take to have softened on Fight Club, but as far as being mentally unstable and doing
What do you
rants
mean?
about what life is, I take this Brad Pitt any day. I fucking love him in this movie.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's
The
fantastic in
long
this.
shot where it's and our leader's fucking crazy. Cut to a close of
Yeah.
him, and the pause is literally this long.
It is just-
I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy. Yeah, no, he's
fantastic.
fantastic in this.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
also
a
Madeline
chaos
Stowe
machine.
in it. Great.
Oh yeah,
Really
yeah.
good.
Madeline Stowe's in
And
it.
who could?
She-
And Bruce Willis, man, miss him, right? Ooh, good one for him.
Hey
Do
man,
you
if you
not
want to
know
be
who
inspired, I gotta
Bruce
say he
is?
gets to act in this even more than something like Die Hard. Like it's also
That's
I
how
think
I
a top
felt.
tier.
When I watched it, yep, that's how I felt. What you were saying?
Willis, he gets to be
It's-
sad. He gets
Here's the
to-
thing. It's dawning on me how
I'm
you can
losing
like you
steam.
can be a fake
Adam's
person.
taking it out of me.
Like the things that he's
Absolutely.
saying
That's the
Or in a
point
good way.
of 12
Stop
Monkeys, I think, isn't it? I remember that.
because it sounds
Uh-oh.
right. It's like podcast voice.
Mhm.
You say it with that confidence, and I'll believe anything you'll say.
As they
But
say in
I'm-
the movie frequently, it's possible. It's possible. You know?
But the way you
Yes,
just said Bruce
but
Willis,
it's possible.
it's like
Yeah.
you don't know he exists. So,
No,
anyway,
I'm just
No,
saying, I
that's
miss him.
Sixth
I'm just
Sense.
saying I
Now we're
miss him,
getting into
is
Sixth
all.
Sense.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out, written by David and Janet Peoples, who also did Blade Runner, Lady
Unforgiven.
Hawk,
That's cool.
Hero, the one with what's his name that I actually like, not De Niro,
I can
Hoffman,
be
Dustin
your
Hoffman.
hero, baby. That one, right?
And Unforgiven, of course, super famous. David Peoples,
One of the
specifically
best
for Unforgiven.
scripts, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and I gotta say, I think this script is also top tier, and it really
Very
does
smart.
come down to the script. Like, I want to put more shine on the David Peoples name in my own
Mhm.
mind and heart. I'm like, he's very, very good. What a record!
I want to tell
Real
you,
Blade Runner.
I want to tell you the tagline for this movie, right?
I
you
wrote
tell me if
Lady
you
Hawk.
love it. Tell me if you like it or you hate it. The future is history.
I hate it, Adam.
I love
I thought it was apropos to the experience of it. And so in that I like it because it's clear, it's very clear.
It just
Uh,
sounds like a Magic School Bus episode,
Yeah.
or like, I don't know.
it. Interesting. You have offended no opinions.
That's
Dude,
isn't
also
that a
when
good
Brad Pitt goes, yes, my son.
Yes, my son.
Very good.
It's great.
so
Yeah.
Very good.
Mhm.
do we agree that the virus sucked? Like that there was a way that
The virus was bad. The virus was bad. Let me ask you this,
in some
Adam.
multiverses
How do you feel that
there
this,
isn't one, right?
How do you feel that this movie commented on the judiciary and the justice
Oh, thank you for
system?
asking. I think that what we learned is that it's really prejudice that separates us irrevocably across the canyon of epistemological nonsense, and that's
Mhm.
represented pretty well by everything Bruce Willis did.
By
You
all
know,
that, about
all the stuff he was
actions
going
of
through.
the protagonist.
Yeah, and by the way it all resolved at the end.
It did ultimately resolve. How could he know that if he didn't
That's
watch
so.
it?
How
That's
could he
weird.
know? How could
They
he
don't
know?
all resolve. They just
Sometimes
end.
Interesting enough.
Sometimes the movie's not good,
Yeah. Speaking of the resolve, I did notice this time and really I always notice that the first shot is the kid's eyes and the second shot is the kid's eyes. But I didn't notice that the soundscape is different to cue you in that they're actually different circular moments. The first shot is the kid's eyes and you hear a gunshot and a scream. So retroactively, that's him watching himself die. The last shot is his eyes and the sound of a plane taking off. So he's watching the world die. That's really cool.
Right.
And
That's
reminds
cool.
us of something we haven't explicitly said yet, which is that Terry Gilliam directed this, who in my mind is
Oh,
a
that's
fucking
cool.
Yeah.
master.
I thought it was cool.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was
Oh,
cool.
that's good. Like,
Um,
I'll take his aesthetic in this shit. I'll take his dystopian aesthetic over the Burton aesthetic, for example.
It's but one thing I'll mention about this is for Gilliam, who I'd call like a production designer's director. I mean, obviously he's a director, but like a great one. But that's like kind of where he came from. And if
It
you look at
reminds me
his
of Alien.
his movies.
Lots of wide angle lenses.
Yeah,
and drawings.
There's just a lot of spaces that are super memorable. Like thinking about Brazil. It's interesting that almost no time travel stories are quite like this one, because we don't have like a device. Like there's no time machine. It's more abstract. It does exist.
There's a
we see parts of it.
Tube port that they go slurp into the wall, and
which is very Gilliam.
But very, and kind of Matrix Potty in a way that I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, a little bit of Fifth Element in there too.
Yeah.
But it's like, for production design, it's actually like I expect he would have gone for broke. And this one's pretty reserved. Like I've always noticed about this movie, it's like it is like La Jetée, which is, a 1960 movie from Chris Marker. That every film school puts on at some point for students, because
it's tight and good. It's
my
favorite thing, which is a straightforward sci-fi story with a good twist, and you go, oh, trippy, cool.
And it's also like made, it's like an example of a short film that was made super cheaply, because it's all still photos with narration over it, and that's like pretty impressive that you can get a story out of that. Yeah. So people study that.
Like,
anyway,
I
also love what they did with his eye, with the red eye that he's,
You're looking at the poster.
I think our man's
I remember
the
it.
poster.
It's a weird poster.
All right.
And I liked it in the movie as well when they did that.
And because he ends up in the present a lot, which is so. I think Brazil is God work. I think Gilliam has had misses, but he doesn't. But he's always very good at his job. So in this case, it's one of the I don't think the stories he tells or picks are always up my alley. Zero Theorem's fine. Dr. Parnassus is fine. But this happens to also, when he is able to work with an incredible story with a tight script, I think he crushes. And especially, like you said, he seems to have some forced restraint merely by the fact that this takes place in the present a lot. But when we do cut to the future, his vision of a prison is so production design awesome. How they pick them up with a claw.
Everything's great.
They live in adjustable crates. We're all monkeys.
It's pretty amazing.
Here's a good example.
It's pretty amazing they were able to do that for $29 million. And
was that the budget?
And grossed 168. But you can see why it made its money back when you watch it.
Yeah, it puts all the money in front of the screen.
All the money's in front of camera. Every cent of it.
And he says at one point, all I see are dead people, which is funny because his name is Cole, and Cole Sear is the name of the kid from The Sixth Sense.
Yep, I knew that.
That's how that goes.
Is that somebody's on the IMDb trivia page?
No, I thought that's mine. That's my useless contribution.
I don't. Here's the deal with good writing. I noticed something that I was like, oh, that's a really fucking cool writing that they did, which is oftentimes in time travel movies, like The Time Machine, that story, or Back to the Future, a mistake or an error is a part of the plot. The machine itself breaks, and that adds a little bit of terror to what they're doing, and it's in this movie, we have him accidentally go back to World War I for a second, and he gets shot. And so it does do that. It does do what it's trying to accomplish. It's trying to make this thematic statement about how we shouldn't meddle. But it actually ends up adding credibility to his unbelievable claims in 1996, right? Because Madeline Stowe's this is a bullet from World War I.
And I think it's pretty clever. It's well written. It creates a data point that allows your brain to start to further understand, okay, these are what has consequences, what doesn't, what's
right.
It starts to shape out how the time travel works. Because when you're watching a time travel movie, I think you're ultimately the twist or last reveal has to involve what does time travel actually work like in this universe? I feel like that's what we're always going in wondering is what is the rule? And the twist, if you've seen Predestination or whatever, all of the ones I can think of, the twist is also in and of itself revealing, the rule is this. Butterfly effect, it lands on the side of Yeah, it's monkey's paw. You can't do it right. There's no way out.
I appreciate
Get it?
how
Yeah, you can
its
go home.
coherence to those rules ultimately leads to a more just conclusion, where they solve their virus.
They solve the virus. They vote on the virus.
A few ballots, yeah.
Because isn't the mimetic arguing that the guy's innocent also a mind virus of some?
It absolutely is.
Some would say a woke mind virus.
Some would say, not me, because I don't allow prejudice to create alternate timelines in which, multiverses happen.
Sure.
Really stretching what makes a podcast, guys. I'm loving this.
We're pushing it. That's what I keep trying to bring us back. I also feel like Gilliam is the only director I trust. I'm like, you Dutch as much as you want, Grandpa. He can Dutch and it doesn't feel forced. Our intro to Pitt in the asylum, the entire sequence is Dutch. I don't think I've seen a whole Dutch sequence before.
He went full Dutch. Yeah.
He went full Batman 60s Dutch everything.
That's right. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. Gilliam has never give a rat's ass about anything.
He's had Grandpa doesn't give a fuck energy since he was 30 years old.
Just thinking about Monty Python and like how they're like, well, it should look like, the credits should look like this. We should do animation like this. It's like a fuck you to everyone. They did it before South Park did it, He's always been that way. Yeah. It's pretty incredible.
I don't really come from space. This is Washington. He doesn't really come from space.
This is Washington. I love that. Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
Has to be mentioned a little. I cede the floor, but a little like they're still portraying mental illness as he's just like generally wackadoo like a Looney Tune. But I think it's well written with that caveat folded in. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. Especially because like I don't know, that's a part of the wish fulfillment, right? Like on the reverse side. Time travelers have access to, typically, I know something that is relevant, or I'm going to be able to make money like Biff or something like that. But in this movie, it's definitely more along the lines of I am just thought of as crazy anytime I say anything because I don't have anything of value in this world. The world is dystopic where I'm from. So it's the reverse of that. And I think that that's pretty cool.
Did it bother you, or what did you think about the fact of, on that note, that I felt like, does the time travel actually like fuck up the functioning of his brain for a while or make him disoriented? Because it did seem like sometimes, you know what I mean? If he was at his full intelligence, which we see other times he's fully lucid and logical, there's stuff he could very obviously say that would prove it or at least lend credence. He could try to predict things or at least try to prove himself, but he just says crazy stuff in a way that makes me think, or for example, from her point of view, it is crazy that she ends up going along with him in the beginning because he's like choking her and shit, and he never explains himself lucidly. He says like, maybe the human race deserves to get wiped out, and chokes her, and it's like that you wouldn't. I don't know how you come back from that. I don't know, what was your thought on, is he sane? Is he insane? Is it because of the time travel? Is it bad writing?
It's a classic Cassandra complex in the sense that often the person telling the truth is disbelieved, but fortunately through his eloquent persuasion, Bruce Willis is able to solve the timelines and the virus. I remember.
That's some viewing comprehension right there.
Right, he solves the timelines, not so much on the virus.
That's what when he goes to see her lecture. That's what she's talking about.
Yeah. Natalie Portman in Annihilation, by the way.
Yeah.
I gotta say, in both Annihilation and this, I'm like, you're pushing it. I'm watching you, counselor. Personally, for me, it's a little on the nose to have a character go, here's a slideshow of a thing that's a perfect metaphor for the movie.
What about Enemy? You love that in Enemy, though, where he talks about tyranny.
He does the lecture about, I guess, because it depends how obviously connected it is. In this, they like pan through an insane asylum to them watching Looney Tunes cartoons of a guy going like, I'm crazy. And I'm like, all right. I mean, what are the odds they'd be watching literally like, this is how society depicts these people. You get it? I'm like, yes, I do get it. I clearly get it. Yeah.
Here are your vectors for infecting the world. Fly to
Yeah,
Baltimore.
what did that where it showed the green spread at the beginning? Anyway,
I think
The
yeah.
Stand? There was a good virus movie where the first shot is like tracking the invisible virus from vector to vector. Someone will say it in comments.
Yeah, no, I think I know what you're talking about.
Might be
My
12
favorite is
Angry Men.
always the thing where he asks the computer like, how fucked are we?
And
the
he
computer
goes,
says very
at
fucked.
this rate, you
Yeah.
guys are fucked.
And then it's just Wilford Brimley going like, oh man, I hate computers.
But also speaking of the insanity issue, is he insane? How I do think they kind of
Right.
fudge how insane he is so that he can, be believed or not believed at the proper times in a way that I kind of accept. But ultimately, what wins me over is it's an amazing reversal of the standard trope to have the whole third act, the person who is quote unquote insane because they're from the future and no one will believe them, wishes they were insane and chooses the reality where they're insane. That's unique to this story and
that's very unique.
fun
I
part,
really like
where
it
he's like,
too.
no, I just want to get better. Like, I don't want it to be true. The time travel stuff.
And with the whole like destiny is kind of unchanged, that's possibly what's happening here, like we're not going to change the world or anything like that. If that's off the table for whatever reason, whether it be providence or just how time travel works in this world, it's crazy to me that they do. Like, what makes that work is that you're almost always in these stories, even multiverse stories, you're rooting for, there's this like natural order of things, right? And when someone is an anomaly or like a superhero, they're ordained by God, or it's like Doctor Strange can see through time or whatever, and he earned it by the fact that he's smart or some entity bestowed it upon him. That bestowing, like in 12 Monkeys, he's from the future. We as the audience know that's true. That's never cashed in. Like in the wish fulfillment story, that's always, you get that scene where there's a moment where everyone realizes, oh, that dude's from the future. We need to put like some respect on his name. That doesn't happen in this scene or in this movie.
He's gunned down by the police and thought to be a terrorist and murderer.
So
and
it's
rapist.
like anti-wish. It's anti-wish fulfillment, time travel
cool.
movie.
Man, I just really agree with you. Good point. That's how I felt about it.
Yes.
I
Thank
also
you.
agree, but now I feel like that detracts from my credibility through the transitive property. I admitted I didn't watch the movie, but I have.
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah, I have too. Who's arguing with
Like,
you?
for example, about his insanity. He picks really weird moments to be overwhelmed by the beauty of life because I understand, like, the scene in the car is amazing because it's a rest moment.
I like
They're
that game,
traveling, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And I think Bruce Willis rises to the challenge of acting across from Brad Pitt, which is quite a challenge, and being like, this is what a man who's never seen the sun or the air thinks of that shit.
Right.
But
Such
then when
beautiful
they're
air.
on the run from the police, he also does it at a really inopportune time. And I'm like, I didn't think he was that crazy.
Yeah, that didn't
that
feel
he
true
would
to me.
stop feeling the danger and not, you know what I mean? Like lose sight of the stakes of the moment.
This is not NASA. Whoever's running this time travel situation,
get it together,
are absolute
those
freaks.
guys.
Dude, they are
right?
absolutely the Fallout DLC Old World Blues. They are that board of scientists.
Yeah, they are Terry Gilliam himself, just an absolute freak. And that means that they're using people who I think in the future are not mentally stable. Like, I think from jump,
Barely
we're not
anyone's
supposed to.
left, right? We're down to the dregs.
We're dealing with human civilization has taken a bad turn in terms of people who have like the emotional intelligence or like the ability to disassociate and be like, I need to take care of business right now. And sometimes they need to look at a flower and cry in the middle of a gunfight.
It's definitely a hyper
I could believe
emotional
that.
world.
It's run. Yeah. It's run by
Remember
this.
that lady with the square head?
Oh,
Through the
yeah.
piece of glass? She's very emotional. She's all frowny.
I really do.
She's all
what a Gilliam
frowns.
shot.
What a Gillium shot. I do like all
Oh,
that.
you do
all
remember that? Adam, you remember that shot? Okay.
Yeah.
Name 3 other head shapes that appear in the film.
Yeah, name a head
I
shape.
mean, classic oval.
He's got us there.
Okay, that's one. All right.
I'm
Next.
sure there's a square jaw. I remember seeing Brad
There's
Pitt's
a
got
guy
kind
with
of
a
a square
lantern
jaw.
jaw.
Yeah.
I defy
And
you
then
to come up with
there's
the
the
third.
Madeline Stowe shape, obviously.
No,
Stowe shape.
that ain't a head
She got
shape.
hair on her.
You're wrong. Get out of here.
Wait, so what do you mean by head shape? Can we examine this? I'd like a vote on it. Can we get a vote on this?
I love the idea that someone who just watched 12 Angry Men now is walking around telling people like, well, we should vote on stuff. Like voting is
I
great.
believe.
That's good. We should. That's true. We'll cut that. So let me count us in. 3, 2, 1. Anyway, yeah, I love all the head shapes in this movie. There's a lot of good ones. You know?
Yeah.
I loved one of the things that lends him credibility is the Simpsons episode where the kid fakes falling down the well, which I believe they're actually both referencing a thing that really happened. That was a news story in the 60s or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
but
Timmy
I
in
only
the
bring
well
it up.
or whatever. Right?
Yeah, Timmy in the well. I bring it up because I just want to know if I'm crazy or either of y'all's mind came to the same conclusion. Because when they say they're sending a monkey down the well with a roast beef sandwich. Then they cut to a guy and he goes, "They're so stupid. The monkey's going to eat the damn sandwich himself." I thought that's what the sandwich was for. I thought it was to give the monkey food while he searches for the boy. But apparently he's supposed to bring the boy a sandwich. Did you intuitively understand that?
I guess I was kind of confused about that. I never really thought about it.
Did you let it stay undifferentiated and just sort of gloss over your brain?
I just kind of glossed over it.
All right.
Yeah, no, I guess it does make sense now that you mention it. It does totally make sense that you need to feed the child in the well, but
it does.
Do, yeah.
But then that guy's obviously right. Yes, the monkey is going to eat the sandwich. Why did they think that was a good plan?
yeah. It's
What you do is you get a bunch of
on the frog's back.
celebrities. Yeah, you get Sting to dig. We all know the Simpsons.
We all know.
Well, you get 11
all
more
get
monkeys so that you have all 12.
12,
and,
yeah, the army
and
of
then
the 12.
you
What
just- you
makes
figure
them
it out.
angry is my... What
Probably
makes
being
them
treated
angry?
bad.
Well,
you
it's
know?
also interesting. I mean, I think people should watch it and like a good time travel movie with a good script. It has all kinds of reverses and twists about the time, but ultimately we've already highlighted what's just the key to understanding them all, which is that everything sort of was locked. But I love the one that is like, you gave me the idea for Army of 12 Monkeys. You said it would be a good idea if we created a virus that wiped out Earth. And he's like,
Right,
I didn't say that. And you're like, well, you were out of your mind on drugs in an insane asylum. So the reveal, I think, or what I gathered from it is Bruce Willis on drugs describing what the future is like incepted the idea of that future into people who then could bring it about. And then, of course, there's the double reveal that Brad Pitt didn't even bring it about. And it's, who is that actor? Who is the actual bad guy?
David Morse.
He plays George Washington in the...
Yes, he does. Where
yeah.
he's like wooden
Okay,
teeth.
cool.
David
I should know
Morse
his name
is
because,
his
man, he only gets one scene and with his face for you to understand how mad he is, and he crushes it.
He crushes it. He's
Yeah,
also
you really
in
feel
The
that.
Green Mile. He's like the
That's
horrible.
what I know him from. Green
He's the
Mile, yeah.
horrible guard. He's Jodie Foster's mom in Contact.
He's Jodie Foster's mom?
Or dad. Sorry, dad in
Okay.
Contact.
He was great in The Negotiator. He was really good in The Negotiator.
He was
yeah.
the negotiator. Yeah, but I remember him from John Adams.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
me
Yeah.
some John Adams.
Yeah, I love
And it
John
just-
Adams. Same Dutch
his
angles.
performance was so
Yeah.
good that it reminded me that, like, even movies that aren't as good as the Ultimo movies, like The Shining, can have moments that are as good. Like, I think that actor should sleep at night thinking, like, that was as good as Nicholson looking crazy in The Shining, because it kind of was. Or
Yeah.
Hopper in Blue Velvet. He just didn't have to maintain it as long.
Abe, wouldn't you agree that that John Adams was influenced by 12 Monkeys because of the use of all the Dutch angles? In
There's
it?
not a lot of directors
Pretty
and
much.
camera people. There's just not a lot of them.
Not
So
enough
they kind of
that use Dutch
influence
angles.
each other.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
but
well-
also, obviously, the director of both of those projects, each of those projects, have a strong affinity for each other.
This is weird. This is like the third podcast in a row that we've mentioned John Adams for some weird reason.
Maybe
Because we were
it's
talking
excellent.
about Tak Fujimoto on the Cowboy Bebop one.
Maybe because I love that show. I really
That's a
do.
great show.
I love the John Adams show.
What were you saying, Swain?
Yeah, I gotta watch that because it seems to be a very core shared touchstone for all the other major hosts on Small Beans. But I
Yeah. Well, it's very similar to 12 Monkeys, as you'll see when you watch it.
I haven't seen it, and I know that's not true.
This is not
Let's
true.
get back to it. I did, yeah. So one thing I wanted to say because it's in my notes is, great as I said, but I want to finish the thought. Great movie with a great script, well directed, well acted. Am I wrong? Terrible score. I feel like the score takes this movie down several notches.
That's interesting. I don't know.
'Cause
I don't think it's
score is
that
so
bad.
important. Okay.
I guess it is unique and it's loud. Like the kind of militaristic drums, like the bum bum bum, that kind of stuff is very. Oh, it's almost like it's a joke, like it's supposed to make it feel like a parade or like a carnival show or something.
It feels like Terry Gilliam has put on a steampunk like clockwork top hat when I hear that music.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's enough.
I
That's
appreciate-
enough whimsy, sir. You
I
can pull it
appreciate
back.
scores that sort of get you into the subject of the film, and then they just let you watch the film, and then they give you some music on the way out, so you're like, you know what? Maybe democracy's not dead, which is how you feel at the end of 12
Is
months.
12 Angry Men only
Just some tunes.
only picture
Yeah.
frame scoring? There's only the ends. That's cool. Bookend
If you
scoring.
want to talk about 12 Angry Men, I'd love to sometime.
Nope. Steering us back. Steering us
forgive me.
back.
No.
I do think it's an excellent film, though. I'm just saying.
It is an
Well,
excellent
of course
film.
it is.
Yeah.
We all
course
think
it is.
that.
And also,
It's just-
there's arguably a multiverse. Again, if you look at those two knife handles, it really
Mhm.
does imply that that's an intersection
I don't
point
think you're
between
right.
two
That's
different
true.
universes.
But if you pan slightly to the left, you'll see that they're just clipping metal shit to Bruce Willis's jowls and pretending that that's how time travel works, which is also fun.
Yeah, I thought that was
Um,
weird, man.
Similar vibe. The guy in the asylum hallway who uses stilts to change light bulbs. That
Yeah,
can't
what's
be
going
how
on with
they
that?
do that.
So weird.
Can't be. Yeah, the leather codpiece. Now we're back to 12 Angry Men, though. of
Now we're
course.
back, baby.
The wire straight to his dong. Did you
Mhm.
notice that when he's getting ready to time travel, there's one wire that goes to the tip of his dick?
That's
Yeah,
how
what
you
is
zap
that
them back.
for?
You can't go back without a
Urgent.
dick.
You like can't miss the dick. The dick
Yeah.
can't not go back in time.
Yeah, that's got to come with you. That's got to
Mm.
come with you.
I always thought that was because it was like checking his dick. Like it's all right.
Is it?
Heart's okay.
Dick is good.
Lungs are
Go through
okay.
time.
Dick is good.
Yeah.
Because time
Well,
travel.
because they know
can-
falling in love might be key, right? To his
Oh, that's
journey.
Yeah, you
True.
need
It
that.
is.
You need it.
As I said, I do think through modern eyes, it really falls down there just in the way of she really seems like she does have Stockholm syndrome, or like she almost believes him too readily just to make the plot go.
Kind of.
But then the other
Yeah.
thing that I think is kind of a double-edged sword is, man, I love the idea of by the time it's done, and we see the recontext and we understand everything, when she gets dragged away from the cops and looks at the little kid, just the idea of that gaze, locking eyes with her, always stuck with him because her look was so haunting, and her look was so
Mm.
haunting because she knew and loved him as an adult, and in that moment realized that kid is that guy.
Bruce
that
Willis.
guy's that guy? Yeah. And just that circular, that has so much poetry to it. And at
Totally.
the same time, I can't not think, so she wants to fuck that kid or what is? Like, I don't know.
Well, right.
This is my
yeah.
problem with vampires and time travel. You always end up being like, but you're still fucking a kid in the end.
I mean, I
funny
don't
that
think she's
she-
gonna actually fuck a kid.
Well, she's going to jail, so she can't, but
Well, yeah,
Time
she's
jail.
like crushing on a kid in the same way where you're
Time
like,
jail.
it's weird that the Twilight vampire is so old.
It's really
yeah,
that's really
that's-
weird. I've never seen
that's
Twilight,
weirder.
but that's strange. Honestly, it's funny that she picked Bruce Willis over Brad Pitt in hindsight.
for
True.
oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
well, I mean, he's not a very
It's
his
not-
character's
she could have picked
clinically
Brad Pitt.
insane.
I think you're imagining a certain shade of Brad Pitt that you might be more familiar with than the Pitt that we get in.
I don't know.
How
Yeah.
cool that he goes from a jail, like, to me, that is so sardonic and Terry Gilliam. You time travel specifically to earn a pardon because your whole life is a jail, and you're immediately dragged to jail.
Right.
And then sent to an insane asylum. I'm like, jail to jail. Everything's a jail.
Yeah,
Everybody sucks. As society's fucked. That's so libertarian, Gilliam. I love it.
And in some sense, all of reality is a prison,
Yes,
which is
Adam.
sort of why this is a multiverse movie,
Hell is other people is what you're trying to say.
A little bit. I mean, also, as I've been saying, prejudice is a prison that creates a separate universe. We all learn that from this movie as well.
You fucking Henry Fonda.
You make me want to be racist with how annoying this is right now. But I'm a big man,
make
so
you
I'm
do
not
that
going to go
as-
down that road. No,
as much as
no,
I
you
uncover
do.
it. I uncover
no, you
it.
do. It's on you. Anyway, Brad Pitt's good in this. I wouldn't say attractive. He's got the lazy eye, which I guess they can do with a
Pretty
contact.
cool.
Is that how they do that?
Yes, they can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All
it was
I
a
know
contact.
is it makes me think of The Holdovers, a movie I mention at every opportunity.
It's a cute ass movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Mhm.
those types of movies.
I don't
But-
like how many different movies we're talking about in this episode.
Right. You were saying
We should
about 12
focus on
Monkeys,
12
though.
Monkeys, yeah.
Mhm.
You were what is it that you said? You said like, oh, the score is not so great. I actually think that 12 Monkeys, and this is my hottest take that I'll drop.
I guess I think this movie is an A movie.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because I'm gonna argue it's kind of boring. I
The
think that
movie
there's
or
a
the
lot
score?
of the movie itself.
Oh, you think the score? It needs the score. It jazzes it up.
I think it kind of jazzes it up. No, I mean it's like I guess it's not really that it's a hot take. Oh, Abe doesn't like this movie. It's more of like this movie always, every time I've watched it, I've always felt like something was like this missing from the special sauce. There's so many, like you were mentioning, performances, and like the writing is really strong and stuff like that. Line by line, you're like, oh yeah, I'm engaged. I am enjoying myself. It's not a boring movie in that sense.
And as a sci-fi fan and writer, the main thing you're looking for is, do the big plot reveals hold up? And I think they do. You're like, yeah, that was clever. Oh, that was clever. Yeah.
Right. And I like earlier in this podcast, I was lauding it for having an atypical kind of ending for a Hollywood movie, which is something that they discussed when they were making it. They were like, this is not gonna do a test well.
Well,
Like,
Brazil
they were-
too. Terry Gilliam
Yeah.
is a fucking downer who is negative in real life.
And it was a huge. There's a lot of contention between Universal and Terry Gilliam at this time, anyway, for things like Brazil and like getting screwed and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I am a dumb dummy who kind of needs the hero journey to enjoy something. The expectation when you have a high concept like time travel and a dystopian future, even Blade Runner has this feeling of like not necessarily a triumph at the end, but it feels like there's a resolution that's very clear cut. Does anyone else bothered by films that don't have like almost feel like they promise a like?
I think it does have there, or to me, it feels very resolved that that nothing can be changed. This is always how it's always gone. Everyone is doomed. That is
Right.
that is how the universe
that's
works.
valid. Also, I really liked
And-
the score having accordion in it. I think, right? I liked that the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty stupid.
Yeah, you don't like the score.
But in the sense that, or I would argue that Greek tragedy is obviously a time-honored structure, and I think that's what it is. It's, I mean, the defining feature of a Greek tragedy is a god tells you, no, you're fucked. It's going to go this way. And you go, but look, there might be hope. Oh, I'm going to try. And he keeps going, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And you allow yourself to dream. And then at the end, it doesn't work. Oedipus fucks his mom and kills his dad and dies. And that's
true.
that.
That's
and
true.
I think this is closer to that than the Campbell hero's journey. And I guess I'd say, I don't know why I just accept stuff that's been done before, but I'm like, they taught it in school, so it must be an acceptable structure, the Greek tragedy one.
Well, like I remember one thing that always resonated with me that like in English class or whatever, my teacher said in high school, like the difference between comedy and tragedy. Some people say it's like it's just at comedy like or tragedy plus time equals comedy. But if you're doing a reverse and trying to define what tragedy is based off of the comic impulse, it's like, all right, so you're watching someone who's standing on the sidewalk and a car drives by and splashes them with a bunch of water, like gutter water, right? Because it's been raining. That could be a funny moment, especially if that person is shitty. Like that's a shitty person. We don't like that person. Or we can put that person into context that is like they're having a bad day. You know, they're trying to take care of their, I don't know, husband or
they're not
wife.
shitty overall, but they just did something where they're asking for it. Like they said, I'll never get splashed by a puddle. And you're like, oh, that, of course it's like, you can hang these things off it that make it sad or happy.
Right.
Totally.
And so it's just the context that sets it up. And I don't know what it is about this movie, but even when you mention stuff like Oedipus and like like basic ass tragedies, there's always this feeling of dread that you get. It almost feels hopeless for the whole time somewhat. I wouldn't say that that's true of every single story, but like, I don't know. You get this vibe that like by the act 3, you're like, this is not going to go well. For some reason, 12 Monkeys does this thing to me, at least, where I'm like, I think it's going to go well. Like there's this glimmer of hope because there's so much emphasis put on it's working. The system is working. He's getting closer to it. There's active progress. He's even got a friend now. And he's equipped with everything he needs, and it just the rug gets pulled out from under you. That feels more sudden than like something like King Lear, where it's like, what's this chapter got in store for this guy?
Well, I think the key difference is the fatal flaw, right? Is in King Lear and Greek tragedies. I forgot. English class is returning to me. One of the key things is there's a reason they blah, blah, blah. Like they're doomed because they're vain or they fly too close to the sun.
Exactly.
Whereas in this, you're right that he is treated as a traditional protagonist, meaning he's an underdog and we want him to succeed. And we're happy when he succeeds and not when he doesn't. And he's not getting punished because of an inherent flaw. He's just getting punished because that's the way it is.
That's the way it is, which is a Terry Gilliam thing. That's Brazil. That is
also Brazil. We are in thrall of forces way larger than us that we don't, you can't fight City Hall.
It almost hurts a little worse, or it makes me, I don't know, it just makes me feel, I guess it's just when it's done in the King Lear way, when it's done like that standard model, it feels... That expectation is almost like a comfort to have.
Well, let me ask you this, because the other thing that keeps coming to mind for me is Chinatown, because that's a top pick for my brain when I think of stuff where it ends and, literally, forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown, shit is fucked, it's doomed, there's nothing you could do. So, and that makes me realize noir is very fatalistic and has some of the similar bones. So like, why does or doesn't that feel... Do you think Chinatown feels under-resolved? Why does or doesn't it work in the noir genre? And I'm like, now Adam can also speak to it. I could have seen those.
I could have spoken to all of it.
Well, unless it was about 12 Monkeys.
Okay, I'll count us in. 3.
All right.
2.
3, 2.
1.
He's seen 12 Monkeys. 1. And Adam, take it away.
Great. Yeah, I think noir films, they work because we expect tragedy from them. And this... 12 Monkeys is working against that because it's time travel, and time travel is inherently hopeful. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I agree 100%.
Things end not hopeful. Like Butterfly Effect also ends on, no, it was bad, you shouldn't have time traveled. A lot of time travel things are, oh no, we've meddled, we shouldn't have meddled, right? I mean, that's like
the trick. That's the trick. But for some reason, because the DNA, like sci-fi does go, like it zigs. I love sci-fi, I love horror. Well, horror doesn't really have this problem because it's pretty much everyone's going to get killed anyway. But like sci-fi is a beautiful genre because it doesn't have like the zigzag problem, like it can, one time it does this, one time it does that. But there are some character stuff, and maybe it's Bruce Willis as well. Just the fact that he's in it, you have this expectation that he's going to win, right? It's not going to go bad.
Yeah,
but
except the eye thing.
Time after time.
I think,
and
the
I
eye
like.
kinda delivers
Oh,
it.
that's also a thing. Is I think I am also a sucker for depressing shit. So
Right.
it might just work on me because it does. I like it even better that you're like, oh, you even raised my hopes, you dastard. You're right.
yeah.
Everything is black and shit and dark and muck. I like stories like that personally, but I'm just fascinated by them. As anyone who comes to our Monday night movie night streams knows.
Oh yeah, we always watch some
I
come
like
and
depressing
see level
movies.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think with the film noir and other genres that there is that expectation. It's because the characters themselves are like, I'm a old sad sack anyway. I'm such a piece of shit. Because they have
Bruce
that kind of
literally
cadence.
says, "I love you so much, I want to be well. We can make this work."
And you're like, oh,
that's
buddy,
so sad. Yeah.
You're not gonna fuck your mom and kill your dad. You're not.
You're not.
It's
You're really
gonna
not.
happen.
Also, why doesn't he shoot the guy? He totally has time to before the
Yeah.
cops shoot him.
That's what I was thinking.
Weren't you like, he has
Just
tons
shoot
of
him.
time?
I
Just
agree.
shoot the guy.
Shoot the guy.
Just shoot him.
Shoot him. You know, it would've felt
Did you
good.
notice
Mhm.
that this movie has, it really looks similar. The Joker shot of him sticking his head out the car window with police colored lights. And it also
Right.
has Jeffrey held upside down, cackling and mocking him as he is right
Like the
side up,
Joker.
staring in his face. Yeah.
That's true. There's Christopher Nolan. We got our eyes on you.
Yeah.
I don't mean in a I just mean, I wouldn't
And
be
on John
shocked if
Adams.
Christopher Nolan loved Terry Gilliam or respected him very much.
Oh
That
yeah,
wouldn't
for sure.
shock
I
me.
think
I
this
don't
movie
know,
is
but-
a classic for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
so,
do
yeah, just to-
know what you mean.
balance Abe's thing, I feel or perceive it as, I think it's an A movie that would be an all-time banger up there with Brazil and Citizen Kane or whatever you think is good. If it weren't for the score, I think that's it for me.
That's all-
Honestly, just
Yeah.
The score thing is interesting.
I kind of agree with you both, really, on it. It's right there with Brazil and noir films. You know,
you better have seen Brazil.
Just
It will make me
recapping
real
the
life mad if
conversation.
he hasn't seen Brazil.
Yeah.
I've seen.
No, I think he's seen
I've
Brazil.
definitely seen Brazil. Robert De Niro,
Okay.
Yeah.
plumber with a cable, love it.
Sure. Yeah,
Bobby
He's
D.
a plumber. Robert De Niro is
Yeah.
Mario.
Mm.
Oh, also, I really liked and think it's revealing that in the final act where they put on kind of intentionally cheesy disguises and stuff, there's a bunch of posters for classic Hitchcock movies in the background. And I'm like, it totally does have. I actually just watched North by Northwest for the first time, and it's very
Right.
similar to those vibes. That final
Right.
sequence in the
Paranoia.
airport feels
Yeah.
very North by
Climbing
Northwest-y,
big
yeah.
noses. Yeah, I love it.
yeah. Dude, I didn't realize North by Northwest ends. So talk about abrupt endings. They kill the bad guy by throwing him off the statue. Then she's going to fall off the statue. He grabs her hand, yanks her up, and it match cuts to him yanking her up in a wedding gown into bed. And he says, "I love you, Mrs. Thornhill." And then it cuts to credits with a train going in a tunnel. And they're like, that's
Yeah.
it. He
Just
killed the
no
bad
hurry.
guy. He fucked the woman. We're done.
Yeah.
We're fucking done.
That's how they
Hitchcock's
used to
like,
do it,
you get
man.
it. You
You
fucking get it.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, you
It's-
pieces of shit.
It's like in 12 Angry
That's
Men.
Hitchcock.
It's been a while since I watched
Oh,
that.
is it
12
like-
Angry Men.
Oh, is it?
How they end with Henry Fonda putting the jacket on the guy after he was real
Oh, yeah.
mad. You know, like but there's like that sort of subtle finality to it. I love it.
Man,
Yeah.
I got to watch that again because that's a great movie I've seen many times, but I don't
Yeah.
remember these details. So it's been too long.
It's pretty good.
One of the things I love about 12 Angry Men, or at least it's become mimetic, or I've read this several times online, is that younger generations who are like, oh, I don't watch older movies. And, obviously that line is being redrawn every year in terms of what we consider
What's
an old movie.
Right.
But like a black and white movie is like so old that it wouldn't even be like watched by like a Gen Alpha or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
But teachers talking about how they put on like 12 Angry Men, and they're like, and students are like, I don't want to watch this. This is
good.
But
Yeah.
by the end of it, they're like, this shit rules. And it's almost even more relevant now than it ever has
100%.
been.
And it's not. I
Kids,
do
you work
yeah,
your
yeah,
life
yeah.
out for them.
Well, that's what's, and time does make a fool of us all, and everything is built on everything else. So you definitely don't need to watch every old movie. So it can be a crapshoot, and I think through modern eyes, like 80%, you are going to be like, this feels rudimentary and therefore boring to me. But you'll never stop the fact that every generation there are a handful of stories in every medium where you're like, that story's just good. It's always going to be good. Like, it's just a banger.
Yeah,
like Jurassic Park's going to last a long, long, long time. I
got news for you. Young people are not as amped on that movie.
No, I don't mean that it will remain in the zeitgeist, but I mean what Abe just said. If you show it to a kid, even a kid that rolls their eyes, by the middle of it, they'd be like, this is actually pretty good. Like the experience I had with, like, I really resisted watching Casablanca. And because I heard the same shit about Gone with the Wind and watched that. And I was like, this is boring to me. Then I watched Casablanca and I'm like, surprise, surprise. Casablanca's a very good movie.
Yeah, pretty good.
And entertaining. That's what I think you're biased about in your mind in Black. You're like, this is going to be slow. But Casablanca's not slow. Nor is the movie, the 12 Angry Men.
The other movies that we talked about that aren't 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Yeah.
Favorite line from 12 Monkeys? It's just like the past. The movie doesn't change. It can't change, but you see different things because you're different.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
Screenplay has at least one. Like, that's a true wisdom line.
That's Sid Field right there.
Yeah, that was a great line from the movie.
Oh, and I earlier jokingly said Capra did 12 Angry Men. I can't let that stand. It's Lumet.
It's Lumet.
Yeah, Lumet directed it. And Terry Gilliam directed 12
Directed.
Angry Men.
That puts the last nail in the coffin of the did Adam see it question.
I did see it.
He did.
These monkeys are making me thirsty.
These monkeys are right. I'm going to take us into our final segment now. Because we're just riffing. And I think we're good at riffing, but not good enough to keep going. This is called Closing the Wormhole, where we basically decide, do we want to live in this universe by these rules? Do we want to retreat to the safety of our totally mundane universe with no time travel or multiverse access? Or can we pitch some kind of hybrid where we're like, I would combine the universes in this way? I mean, it's tough to want, right? Because it's explicitly a universe where everyone's doomed and you can't change that. That's the rules.
There's comfort in that rule though, like, because it is unique in terms of the films we've seen. I really like the idea that it's like time travel is more or less a non-starter. You can get information, but in a final destination-y way. That
at least it means there can't be time wars where you're just constantly rewriting the timeline till it's nonsense, which is the other risk. Yeah,
it's true that in this particular one, there's a dystopia, crazy virus.
That's not ideal.
Not ideal, but like it's better than, I think that if time travel, a lot of these time travel stories would make it so that you just get one Hitler involved in the mix and bingo bango, the universe is over. So I do like the comfort of it, and I think I would hybridize the world. I would try to see if I could argue for not getting this dystopia part and just the time travel physics. But we'll see. Of course,
hybridize the system, but not that particular outcome.
That would be awesome.
All right. Well, I'll steal that answer. I was going to close the wormhole, but obviously I'll have what he's having. That's the right answer. Adam, I assume you're going to hop on board or say a third thing that's a joke related to the bit you've established.
3, 2, 1. Honestly, I think I'll stay here. In 12 monkeys.
I'm just going to say
Yeah, it seemed like a homey vibe to you. Is what you?
You having a good
Yeah,
time?
it wasn't. I like monkeys. And I like that they fixed the virus. You know, I like accordions. It seems all right.
I mean, as Bruce Willis, so you're assuming he took care of the virus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna check.
I
assume he
saw
did.
the movie,
He's a
and
hero.
that's what happened.
The writer of Unforgiven. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
Or, you stay. You stay.
This is behind the
I have to.
paywall, right? So no plugs. We're just
Nah, we don't need to do
let's
shit.
zoop out.
Yeah, great episode. Okay, so do you guys mind if I record my take now? Is that cool? I'm gonna go.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
We're definitely not gonna.
Say what you want to have dropped in at the beginning.
Okay, great.
And
12 Monkeys is fuck. Can you cut it down? You think?
Cut it down or cut it in,
Could you cut it down?
or chop it up?
Chop it up.
And again, let's go. And 3, 2, 1.